Hello students, this is Dr. Hune and I'm going to walk you through what we are going to use this fall called the clinical update. You should be familiar with this from 324, so it won't be all that new to you. We just have a few more expectations this semester, so we want to make sure you understand what we want and how to do this. So the clinical update for 424 we'll begin with on the very top. It's going to have your name. You are the student, so we'd like to see your name there. And then we would also like to see, let me pick a good color here. We would like to see the preceptor's name, and his name goes right here. And then put their initials, RN, BSN, or whatever it is they may have. The new thing we're adding to the document is the preceptor license number. So put that there, and you will get this on their preceptor agreement form. It should be listed. We as faculty will go back and check on this and make sure that that is a valid license number. Also give us your preceptor's work email. We do not want personal emails. If that is all they have to give you, then let us know that, but otherwise we like to have their work emails. And also let us know what the hospital name is, and then also let us know what state you're going to be in. We like to keep track of all this as well. Now, a very important part of your clinical update, and this is just something you do during that first week, is the compliance items. And I know you're all very familiar with these. These are all listed on the LPN to BS bloodborne pathogen site. Now, what I want you to document on all of these, I have written in the little blue boxes underneath the item. Here's the item that I want, and here's how I want you to write it. I want you to give me the expiration date on your LPN license. So you would plug that in right here. Liability, please give me an expiration date. CPR, give me an expiration date. Bloodborne pathogen training, give me the completion date when you took it last. You should be all prepared before classes start that you should have this done. Your TB, give me the expiration date. Your flu vaccine, on that one I want the date that it was administered. So that was a little different. And then your Tdap, give us the expiration year. Those are pretty far out in the future. So do keep up with these compliance items. These are very, very important. If you lax on one of these, you will be blocked from the course. So do know that we are very, when we ask you for something or if we say something is past due, there's no time to waste. You need to get that corrected immediately. You cannot participate in clinical hours either if your compliance items are not up to date. And your preclinical items, as any course, there's all kinds of documentation. So the first item that you're going to need is your preceptor agreement. You're all very familiar with that. And once you get that agreement done, I want you to scan it as a PDF. I will not accept any JPEGs. And there's a variety of reasons. They're hard to read. They take up a lot of ink if we print them. But more than that, IT said they take up a lot of storage space within Blackboard. So don't use JPEGs. So convert these to a PDF or just scan it as a PDF. I think a lot of you have the ability to do that now. So precept agreement, scan and submit as a PDF. And there will be spots on the course site to submit each of these preclinical documents individually. Next thing I want is your proposed clinical hours. And again, I want to see where all 90 hours are going to happen. And obviously we know that there may be some changes to this, schedules get moved around, what have you. But we want to see all 90 hours accounted for. When we look at your 90 hours, your clinical faculty will then look at those hours, how they're distributed, and decide when your clinical assignments are going to be due. You will have 3 clinical assignments in 424. So we will look at your hours and decide when assignment number 1, number 2, and number 3 are due, and then we will send you a clinical assignments agreement, which is this document right here. And when we send that to you, it'll have these dates listed on it that we would like you to, let me plug in this computer, dates that we would like you to submit your clinical assignments. And again, there's flexibility into this. If you were to have something come up or the preceptor's sick or what have you, and you didn't get your hours, then we can certainly align this. Next thing we need is a student-faculty agreement. Again, you've seen this form a million times. It just tells me that you, the student, are going to do 90 hours at this hospital with this preceptor. Very short little document. Scan as a PDF, submit online to Blackboard. Skills inventory. This one's a little longer, but I want you all to go through that very thoroughly. You have all been through 324, so you should have some clinical experience doing a few things. Some of you still work as LPN, so you should have some experience doing some things. This document is very long because there's so many things you could possibly do in ICU, ER, what have you. So we have most everything documented. We by no means expect you to be able to do all those things, but whatever you can get a chance to do, that is great. So I want you to fill out the skills inventory, and then I want you to review it with your preceptor. Once that is done, you have the preceptor sign, and then you scan this whole thing as one PDF document, not as 9 separate documents, as one, and then submit this document online to Blackboard as well. And then the last document is this clinical rules agreement. And this pretty much says that you're a student, you're going to do 90 hours. You can only do no more than 12 hours in a day. You can do no more than 4 hours for orientation. You're not allowed to count work hours, things like that. You've seen a document very similar in 324. So that also needs to be signed and submitted. And record all the dates that you submit those. So all your dates should be recorded right here. I don't want to see these spots blank. As we get midway, you're going to have a preceptor, not an evaluation form, but a feedback form. And that will be sent in midway, and then again at the completion of your clinicals. So when clinicals are done, same process. You have things signed off that are supposed to be signed. You scan them as a PDF and you submit online to Blackboard, and we will have submission sites available for you to do that. And as I mentioned, you will all have clinical assignments. There are 3, and because everybody has different schedules, the dates that we assign your assignments are going to all look very different. So please put those assignment dates right here. This helps you keep track. It helps us keep track. So put those dates in there. If they change, we can adjust it, no problem. And then as you get your scores for these, I want you to put your scores on here. Not often, but once in a while we've had a few discrepancies. So let's both keep track, and we should have no problem when it is all said and done. The most points you can score for your clinical is 100. The course itself, the theory part, is worth 600. So on these clinical assignments, they're each rated at 100 points. So when it's all done, you calculate all the scores together, and then you divide by 3, and that would give you your final clinical score. So most people do very, very well, and if you're having trouble, we usually help you out before you end up with big trouble. So just know that we're here to help you on that stuff, and most people do just fine. Okay, so let's close out this for a second, and let me scroll down a little further. Okay, so here's the real nuts and bolts of the clinical assignment. Once you keep track of all that information up above, you're going to start submitting this stuff. So at the end of week 1, on that Sunday night, you're going to submit your first clinical update to us. And because you may have done something with that week, I want you to put in here what you had done during the week. If you had clinical at all, a lot of you might, some of you may not, but a lot of you will. So I want to know what you did during the week, and then I also want to know the exact date of that. So here's the week right here, and then I want to know the exact date of what you did. So that would be here. And then what hours did you work? You worked 7 to 1. It was a total of 6 hours. It was mostly orientation. So because you're doing this at the end of the week, which is not typical, you would tell us, give us a little summation of what you did. What did you learn? What did you do? Who'd you do it with? And are there any takeaways? What did you really get out of this? The reason we want this information, we want to follow a little bit about what you're getting to do at your clinical. Lots of students write back to us later asking us for recommendations, and it's really great to have some sort of a documentation of what you were able to do, and we can write a little more about you, things like that. But we, as clinical faculty, like to read this. We enjoy reading this. We want to see that you're getting stuff out of this. And if we want to tweak it or ask you to try another experience, we can do that as well. So, also at the end of week 1, you're preparing for week 2. So when you submit this at the end of week 1, you're telling us what you did for week 1, giving us this little information here, but you're going to provide us the information of where you're going to be in the upcoming week. So you're going to tell us what you're going to do in week 2. So week 2, you're going to have clinical on this day, and you're going to go for a 12-hour shift. So then your cumulative total when you're all done with it would be 18 hours. But you can't write anything here yet because you haven't done it. So this is just saying to your instructor, looking ahead, I'm going to be in clinical this day. I know where you are. I know what you're up to. I know what you're doing. So that is incredibly helpful to us. Okay, so that's what this should look like when you hand in your clinical update on this Sunday before week 2 starts. Okay, so let me try and show you what the other weeks might look like for you. Okay, so that would be, let's see. Okay, so week 2 is now finished, and you're going to submit this at the end of, got the wrong one for you. Hold on one second here. Okay, so week 2 has finished. You've done your clinical. You're now submitting your clinical update at the end of week 2, at the beginning of week 3, that Sunday night. So all you're doing now is, this was already here. You're just adding to it. And this was already here. You're just now going back and saying, here's what I did. It was great. I did this, 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 and this. And then here's where I'm going to be for the upcoming week. That's what this is all about. So let's go one more week ahead. And we're going to look at the 4th week. So again, all this information is already done. We're going to scroll down. Week 1's there. Week 2 is now there. Now you've finished week 3. You told me where you're going to go. Now you did it. So you're adding this in, and then you're proposing where you're going to be in week 4. Now, these need to be done correctly. And the other thing you're going to see when you submit these updates, we will look at them hopefully on Mondays. And if all your work is completed up to that date from previous weeks, then that's good. We want it to be done. As long as you have no items, compliance issues, anything like that, you're good to go. And then if everything looks good, we will give you either the password for the quiz, the password for the exam, or the clinical case study for the week. But we only give you those if your update is on track and done correctly, and if you've got all the work from the previous weeks completed to our satisfaction. And if it's the beginning of week 3 and we're looking at your update, then we expect everything to be in order up to week 2. And if it is, you'll see a 2. At the end of week 3, when we look at your updates at the beginning of week 4, we'll look at it. If everything is good and you've got all your work done up to week 3, you'll see a 3. So those are just notes to ourselves. They're not points for you. So just know that those progress as the weeks progress. If you ever see a 0 on your clinical update, look at our comments immediately. That means you're missing something, or we didn't get something, or we'd like you to do something or fix something. So do not lollygag on that. Look at those right away. Otherwise, this should be easy, and when the semester is over, we will give you points for being diligent with this, and we'll have a great record of all you did in clinical. And hopefully this won't be too burdensome. It really isn't. Once you get it completed for the first time, just plugging in a little bit of stuff each week is really not a big deal. So if you have any questions, please ask me or ask our other faculty this fall, which will be Candy DeCorville, and a lot of you know her from 324. Okay, we're looking forward to a very, very good semester.